meeting for July 11th, 2017 of the Board of Commissioners. Could you all please rise and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing for a brief moment of silence. Thank you. Okay. As of 6:30, I have not received any changes to the agenda. Does anybody have any? If not, I'll entertain a motion to adopt the agenda. So moved. All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Okay, public comments. We have 4 people signed up to speak. What you'll notice on the overhead are revised, or not revised, there's some cleanup on the rules. Since the last meeting, I have been approached by a number of people from the community, board members, staff, citizens, business owners, about the tone that seems to be permeated throughout Waxhaw. And while we believe very strongly in public comments, it does provide an opportunity to actually specify and remind people just exactly what we expect in terms of the decorum. I was even asked to, can you eliminate public comments? We don't want to listen to it anymore. And legally, you must provide it once a month. We do it twice a month. We do it before every board meeting. We would never do that. We go way beyond the law, and we're happy to do so. But we do have a responsibility, and that is the one thing the law is very clear about, that to maintain a decorum. And fortunately or unfortunately, that falls on me, and so I have to enforce these. And so our procedures are very straightforward. We're going to do it at the beginning of every meeting. The reason that says for 15 minutes is because sometimes we move the meetings around and we had it in there for a certain time. We ask people to complete the public sign-up. You'll be recognized by me or in my absence, or if I turn the gavel over to the Mayor Pro Tem, the Chair. We ask that everybody address the town board from the podium. We start at the remarks. We ask you to start the remarks with your name and address, because there's a lot of people that are now watching via YouTube and they don't see the sign-up sheet. And that's their way of connecting with each individual citizen. All comments, they're addressed to the board, not an individual. They are addressed directly to the board because we are one body. And we don't address it to one member, nor do we address it to the audience. Public comment question that I was getting, is this a Q&A session? No, it isn't. It's intended for you to offer up your comments. We take those comments. We work as one body with Greg and the town manager and with the clerk, Melody Schuler, to figure out how we are going to get answers to some of the questions that are raised as appropriate. Must relate to town business. Please, please, please remember it's about being courteous in language and presentation. We are going to refrain from personal attacks and the use of profanity. And comments are limited to 3 minutes. And our clerk keeps track of that for us. So with that, our first speaker, Bill Ruley.
Thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak to you tonight, Mr. Mayor, Commissioners, and other staff members. I came over here to...
Bill, would you state your address just for the record?
Oh, I'm sorry. William H. Ruley, 1021 Cumberson Road, Waxhaw.
Thank you.
Sorry. I was concentrating on what I was going to say. But anyway, I wanted to thank you folks. I want to thank you for the fine job that your public service department does, and the Parks and Recreation event coordinator, Lisa, for what you do here in town for the American Legion Post 208. You celebrate with us Memorial Day, you celebrate with us Veterans Day. You maintain the wall downtown for us. I can't say enough about the folks that work for the town and coordinate these events and how supportive they are of the veterans. And I don't know if you guys are aware, ladies are aware of the fact that when we started putting flags on the cemetery, in Waxhaw Cemetery, Marion, when we worked with Todd, she made an effort to identify all of the veterans' graves for us. This past Memorial Day, we put up over 150 flags. And so I just wanted to say thank you. And happy to be here.
Thank you very much.
God bless you.
Next up, Bonnie Rosico.
My name is Bonnie Rusinko. I live at 2501 Providence Road South. First of all, I want to tell you I haven't seen you guys at least 90 days, and it's good to be here to see you, and I'm sure you're just as excited to see me as I am you. Now, I have one small, tiny little problem. My computer, when I went to download the budget, every time I download at least more than 10 to 12 pages, I get an error. It just says error, I cannot download. I don't know if it's a glitch in your computers or mine. I've had the computer guy out and he says it's not mine, but you know how that goes. He said, she said thing. So in that, I decided I wanted to see the budget, even though I missed the public hearing, and I'm sorry about that. I bet you are too. But I wanted to get a copy so I could see what was going on, so I could at least address part of it. And I went to town hall, and they said that it would be 25 cents per sheet for me to get it. I don't mind, but my mouth dropped, 25 cents per sheet. Now, I looked at the budget, I paid it, and I was gracious about it, they were gracious about it. I said I disagree with it, so I'm here to ask you, why are we paying 25 cents per sheet when that's more expensive than you go to the library, FedEx? And I called 7 different places today, asking different towns what they charge, and none of them charged that much. It was either 5 cents, 10 cents, and there was 3 of them that said, we don't charge anything. Most of the time it's downloaded, which is true, and I understand downloading, get on the internet, download. But when you can't, and a citizen comes to you and says, I need a copy of whatever, the 25 cents. Now, I went to the budget, I got it, and I said, we're spending over $32,000 for office supplies. That's my tax dollars paying you to buy paper. I turn around and I'm buying paper again, paying for it because I'm asking for copies. I don't mind you making a profit. I don't mind breaking even. But 25 cents, come on guys. I've even checked the Staples. And a ream of paper, if you buy it in bulk, is $3.15 a ream. That's 500 sheets. You are paying less than 50 cents, 5 cents a copy. Less than, 1 cent a copy. It's like a half a cent per page. If you times that by 25, you're making a good profit, way over what it should be. So I'm asking you to rethink it, unless it's purposely put out for us to discourage us from coming down to ask for copies. And now I know what's coming up is UDL. I don't think my machine's going to be able to download the UDL. So when I come to you and ask for a copy of UDL, I'm understanding from when I asked, they said it would be $50. That's a lot of money, $50 for UDO when I'm the citizen and I would like to look at it. I know you're going to have public hearing on it, but what happens if I want to take it home and look at it? I can see $15, but I would just like for you to please reconsider, look at your schedule of fees and change it or lower it so we can be involved. Thank you.
Thank you, Bonnie. And welcome back. Next up, Neil Guyman.
Mayor, Council, staff, my name is Neil Guyman. I live at 1201 Bedford Glen Drive, Waxhaw, North Carolina. I want to address some of the accusations that were made last month by an individual concerning our business. I wanted to say on record there's been no collusion with the town of Waxhaw or us. Because we were the first brewery in Waxhaw and in Union County, we had to work together to understand zoning, taxes, inspections, as well as other things that normal businesses do not have to deal with. I mention taxes because our industry is the most taxed industry, and not only in the state, but in the country as well, and we pay every penny of it. And because we are a federally governed business, every move we make has to be done properly and documented. We have hired over 10 people to work at our brewery and are on track to hire more in the coming months. Since our opening day, we do not have a kitchen. We have supported the restaurants around us where customers can get delivery or takeout. We have also had numerous requests for a food truck that is a staple for breweries. We work very hard to find a food truck that does not offer anything similar to what is currently being served around the local restaurants. With this food truck, we are supporting another Waxhaw business. We worked with the previous town manager as well as the Main Street manager to understand the ordinances about having a food truck there on the street and found out that Waxhaw does not have an ordinance. It will in the future, and we will abide by it. El Chef on the Run is only open on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday evenings, and only for a few hours. We feel that there's enough room in Waxhaw for all the restaurants to flourish, despite the addition of this food truck. Keep in mind, a new Irish pub is going to be opening soon. Having a choice of food, drink, and entertainment done correctly will bring more people into the town and increase business for everybody. That brings up a point about what was raised also about Waxhaw becoming a place to drink. I want to remind everybody that nobody is forcing anybody to drink alcohol. We are a family-friendly place. For those who don't believe me, come in on a Saturday when you can see kids playing while the parents are enjoying a freshly craft beer with good conversation. We are very proud to be here in Waxhaw. One thing I and the others in the community are extremely tired of is the negativity that has prevailed in Waxhaw over the past several months. It seems to come from a small group of people that like to point out every single flaw that the town, the government, people, and the businesses have. This has to stop, and I will be the first one to start something new. I want everybody in Waxhaw to think about and look and see something that's good that's going on here. And I'm going to start off. Has everybody had a chance to see the big whiteboard that's down the road here for the Fixing Them for Christ? You see how many businesses, individuals, and companies have gotten together to donate money to help out people here in Waxhaw. That is the story that needs to be told. My last point is to ask a question. Do these people that complain about the changes that are coming to Waxhaw are content on just letting this town stay the same and stagnate, or help working towards making Waxhaw a vibrant town in touch with the past with an eye to the future? Thank you.
Thank you. Shel Holston?
Hello, my name is Shel Holston. I live at 224 West North Main Street. And welcome back, Earl, wherever you are, from Russia. There's a couple of things that I wanted to, I wasn't even thinking about speaking tonight, but I did want to make a comment about a couple of things. We were at the parade, I always forget the parade, but there were a couple of things that I wanted to bring forward to the events coordinator or whoever is in charge of it. The magnetic signs on the parade entries were lacking this year. We've always had them. I remember the first and second time that we had a parade, they didn't have magnetic signs. So everybody got out and made their own signs, which were fine. So we at least knew who was going through. That's the first thing. The second thing is, and I don't know who's in charge of this either, it's the railroad crossing nearest my house, which is the end, I guess, of Church Street. It is in dismal shape. I felt as if I had busted a tire the other day because of the wooden part of the railroad crossing being in such a deteriorated manner that it's almost not there in some places. So those are the two things that I think that should be addressed. Another thing is, I hope I'm not a hostile witness standing up here, just because when I bring things to you, they're pretty negative most of the time. But I don't think of that as being something that I consider hostile. Anyway, there you go. That's all I'm going to say.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And just for a matter of record, I think I was in that same hole on the CSX crossing.
It was your tire, probably not mine.
It is in bad shape. We probably should see what can be done with CSX on that. Okay, next up, I'll entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Ayes have it, 5-0. Presentations, Main Street Advisory Board update. Neil?
Hello again. This time I got some really nice things.
microphone.
There we go. Okay, as promised, we would do a quarterly update as to what's going on with the Main Street Initiative, and I'm really proud to say we've been doing a lot of stuff and moving very, very quickly on that. Just a quick review of what we're supposed to be doing, what we're currently working on, and what is going to be the next steps now. The one nice thing, we have now added a new member, Ken Costco. He and his wife own the provisions. It's good to have somebody else on the board that actually has an idea about what the downtown area and Main Street area needs done. But all the other team members, I'm very, very glad to be part of this team then, because they all want to make sure that things are getting done as quickly as possible, that it's going to be a benefit to the town. So the vision statement here, downtown Waxhaw is Union County's hub for diverse retail shops, award-winning eating and drinking establishments, local artisans, and cultural events. It is pedestrian-friendly streets and beautifully preserved historic character, provide residents and visitors alike with a sense of heritage, activities, and well-being. And we do believe that. We've got a number of different things here. I'm not going to read through them all. Everybody does have a copy of it, and I'd be more than happy to supply a copy to anybody in the audience who would like to see about this thing. But basically, our main thing is to promote and market downtown as a location for existing and new businesses and aim at achieve the full use, infill, and occupancy of the downtown district. We want to make sure that historically appropriate renovations and constructions are going to continue. We want to foster a positive outlook and spirit of cooperation among the various interest groups involved in the renaissance of downtown Waxhaw. So the Main Street and economic development is within the context of historic preservation. We want to make sure that any of the changes that we're going to be bringing to the town are going to be something that's going to maintain the historic integrity that is already there. We don't want to go building, tearing down things and building new things anyway. So what we did is we split up our teams into 3 areas that we identified as main areas that we can be able to get the most bang for our buck, or be able to make sure we can get the ball rolling as quickly as possible then. So the first area then is to create a network of pedestrian-friendly streets, and I'm the strategy lead on this one then. And this is, we're working with the TAP grant improvements then. Over the past month, I have scheduled a meeting with all the business owners down the Main Street corridor and showed them exactly all that we're going that's been proposed as part of the TAP grant improvements, such as the new sidewalks, the new crosswalks, a couple other things that are going on there. And a prevailing question around came about what about parking, and we talked to them about parking and what we can be able to do within the context of making sure that if you're going to park somewhere, you're going to have the ability to walk safely to wherever you want to go then too. So we've got a number of really neat enhancements that are coming through, and we've got a lot of really great feedback as well from everybody on this thing. One of them was about one of the biggest backups that happens, especially during rush hour, as you're coming from 75 onto Providence Road, or Broom Street at that point, is people trying to make a left-hand turn over there. What if we made North Main Street one way, going one direction? This way we can also get rid of the parallel parking and put in curb parking or a parallel, or the angled parking in there, and be able to increase parking all through down that road as well. The other area that we're looking at is about the foster cultural events and local artisan support for special events and historic preservation. And Sandy Dignan is the leader to this end. And right now we're really concentrating on the Waxhaw Farmers Market. We have got a number of ideas. She has been working constantly and been meeting with the Waxhaw Farmers Market on a weekly basis. If we can give the Waxhaw Farmers Market a better place, a bigger place, they can bring more vendors down there. More vendors can be able to offer more things to more people, that more people will come down here and be able to experience not only that, but also everything else that's going on. And of course, we have a safe way, a great place for them to park, as well as a great way to move around. That all fits all together. And then the last item is to foster a diverse mix of retail, eating, and drinking establishment. And Craig Miller is the lead on this one. And we've been really looking about how we can actually bring the signage up better as well then too. Our team's been going around and just basically going from every direction and saying, okay, what if we were brand new to Waxhaw? How can we easily find out what's going on here? And we've been finding out is that the signage is not the greatest around here. So there's an identification process that's going on to be able to see what we can be able to do very quickly and meaningfully to help people move around and understand what's going on in downtown Waxhaw. So as we talked about, we have the entire team that's all put together then. Oh, there we go. So we utilize everybody in our teams and be able to talk with other people, be able to do some research, and be able to find out other pieces of information then, so. As I said about the TAP grant updates then, we did have a series of meetings then. We had a couple ideas, such as the new guardrail around 75 in front of the Millview shops. That was not part of the original TAP grant then, but with the building of those shops and how popular those shops are getting, especially with kids, it's not a really great intersection when people are coming around that curve. So there's got to be some sort of proper guardrail that can go around there that'll be safe, but also work within the context of what we're trying to do with it. We looked about additional parking spaces off the main, off of 75 on some of the side streets that we might be able to do. And I already talked about this possible one-way direction, which could actually do a number of things too. Now, these items are going to be discussed with Gresham Smith and Partners, who are the ones that are managing the we'll be able to work with them on these ideas and be able to prioritize them against these others then. And from those ideas, if those are not going to be able to be done through the TAP grant, they might be something that can be easily done through the town of Waxhaw then. And we will be able to present that in a manner to show you, this is what the TAP grant can do, this is what we really think that the town really needs to step up and be able to do that.
One quick second. Greg, would it be possible at one of the future meetings to maybe walk the town board through everything that's going on with the TAP grant? Because I can't remember our last update. It was before you came on board, and we're kind of operating in the dark here with some of this.
Absolutely, we'll do that, probably schedule it as a work session.
Okay, thank you.
My apologies, I should have brought that in there too, but it basically is a number of, just sort of a highlight then, there are a number of enhancements that they're looking to do. One of them is to be able to put a sidewalk from the new mill all the way into town, to connect that further into the town, rework the bridge over there to be able to accept people coming from there. Another is to really see about something that we can really utilize to make the crosswalks much more brighter and easier to be visible both day and night then. And there's also some other areas, like somewhere up like on North Main Street, where the crosswalk goes from street level all the way to about 13 feet, it feels like then. So there's got to be a way that we can easily get that all taken care of then too. But there are a number of other things that are on there then, and I think definitely it would be really good for you all to review the list about that. But one thing that really came out of that was that in talking with the shop owners and business owners down there, they would really like to have a more of an easier way to be able to talk with the town then. So what I will be scheduling is a quarterly meeting that people can be able to come in, be able to bring any ideas or problems or anything like that. And between Kurt and myself, we'll be able to present to you of what the street is actually telling us then too. So that's going to be something to be coming up in the coming weeks. I am going to be talking with the WDA about inviting everybody from the WDA to be able to attend as well too. For the town-owned real estate area, the teams put together several ideas for the improvement parking signage then, as we talked about that. Those are in the process of being fabricated right now from our budget then. So we are really trying to move quickly on this and be able to get something in place so that we can start moving people through here better then. We've already started taking a look at some minor improvements to the parking lot of the Niven Price building then. We've closed off one of the entrances or exits over there then, which opened up a couple more parking spots. We'll be adding some concrete parking things to be able to measure out exactly where the parking is going to be going on that then. And of course, the nice thing about all these things are that each one of these groups may be different in where they're working, but they also have a connection with another group that's already working on these things. And the farmers market, as I already talked about, they're meeting regularly with the Waxhaw Farmers Market then, and they've actually come up with a plan, which we're going to be meeting probably in the next next week or so, to be able to start putting together a solid plan that I would really love to be able to explain to you better in the next update, the next quarterly update of what's going on then. I rattled off quite a few things very quickly, so if there's any questions, comments, I'm more than happy to answer. Plus, I got Kurt here backing up.
Questions?
I have a question.
Yes.
You mentioned West North Main Street, you have talked about making that a one-way.
That's correct, yes.
Can you explain that?
We
for
can
the
talk,
people in the neighborhood that live around and on West North Main?
well, it would be primarily just going from Church Street down to Providence Street then, to be able to access it. You can go down to the road crossing, which we talked about already, that's with the big gaping hole there. To be able to get on, to be able to come down Main Street, going southbound on North Main Street then. From there, we can be able to put angled parking through there because we'll be taking, basically one lane is only going to be needed for there then. So we can actually put more parking spots on both sides of the road then. And then just going around one way down to Providence Street, down to the intersection with Waxhaw and Indian Trail Parkway there, and having a three-way stop there. This is still an idea that we're going to be presenting to the group that's going to be managing this thing, and see if this is going to be able to fall into that. And we still have this is just an idea that came out. We have to talk with Department of Transportation to be able to understand what can we do, what can't we do, and be able to come around with it. But it was a very neat idea, and it was something that we were mandated with, is that we have to think outside of the box on this.
So if I heard you correctly, you guys are coming up with ideas. You're bringing those ideas forward to the consultant. And Dennis, I would assume, is a part of that discussion as well, because he runs the transportation side of it. So it's idea through trying to analyze and see what are the ones that will stick and what are the ones that may not stick. But
That's-
you're at the idea creation point of this.
That is absolutely
Okay.
correct.
Other questions? Commissioner Burrow?
If you have good ideas, can you not wait for 3 months to share them? In other words, come
We're
back
going to
to
be
this.
surprised with that.
Yeah. If you've got a good idea.
Well, no, and I appreciate that, but it's also, it's the nature of our board is where we really work together on what's going on. How does it impact this group? How does it impact that group? And we really want to be able to make sure that all the dots and T's are crossed then before we can be able to come up with that.
Well, it looks like all the good ideas that don't require our input, you're already implementing, like the parking attendance price and all that kind of stuff. You're bringing the big ideas that require perhaps policy or extended budget items that would, like
Exactly.
real estate, et cetera. And those take more time, correct?
Very much so.
Okay.
We're not trying to rush through anything, but if we can hit some low-hanging fruit, it can be a really big help to everything. But why don't we just do that? The others require a lot of understanding about this, especially when we start sitting around with the contract management group to be able to understand about what can we do and how much more if we did this would it put things back too.
Curious, will we discuss this at our budget retreat, do you think? Will this be far enough along as part of the capital improvement plan?
Any capital improvement project that would impact Main Street or the downtown area would certainly be part of that five-year
Okay.
capital improvement plan, if it's not already scheduled in this year. So
Okay.
we have some, again, CAP grant, one good example
Yeah.
of a grant that's already moving forward, but when we're looking at a 5-year window, we would look at other projects that might impact the downtown area.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions?
Suggestion.
Commissioner
I know you're
Sherrill?
at the idea stage, but you're gonna get to the financial stage, so we need to have financial suggestions from you, how we.
Very true. Yes. If there's nothing else, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. And congratulations on all your medals and awards.
Thank you. Thank you.
Next up, retail recruitment presentation. Cheyenne Robinson from the Postal Company.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor, Town Commissioners. Thank you so much for having me here. It's a pleasure to be here in Waxhaw again. I'm Cheyenne Robinson. I'm your day-to-day account executive and point of contact. I'm sure many of you remember me. It's been a while. Last year I was here in August. I've been working very closely with Kurt on the recruitment roadmap and strategy and plan. I'm really looking forward to sharing with you all an update of where we are today in our efforts. Previously, when I was here last, we talked a lot about how the process of selling the community to retailers, what retailers are looking at, what are some areas that we can focus on. And today we're going to spend more time on where we are and the progress that we've made today. Now, first, I am going to give just a brief background about who we are in the event there's any residents in the audience or anyone watching that may not be familiar with who we are, how we leverage our background to take a proprietary approach to understand your market from a retailer's perspective, So where are your best customers for a retailer? Where are those consumers found? They're going to shop and dine at a potential location here in Waxhaw. Then we're going to take a look at where we are in implementation and the support that we are providing to you all. Take a look at some of those results in an actual case study, results that none of you have actually seen yet today. I'm excited to be the first to share with you some of those exciting results that we have to date. And then what does a realistic timeline look like from a development standpoint? We've started in the industry working with retailers, but we have, over the years, have had some developers that have partnered with us to see what type of retail should locate in our development. And so one of our clients has actually provided us an example timeline, so I'm going to share that with you all today. And then take a look at some key takeaways overall of everything that we've shared, but if there's any questions at any time, please don't hesitate to let me know. So we got started in the marketplace 23 years ago in site selection for retailers. Trader Joe's, for instance, they are primarily West Coast based. They partnered with us to expand their footprint across the U.S. to know where their best customers and how do they locate in those markets so they can increase home run stores and decrease putting a low performer in the marketplace by knowing their best core consumers, where they're located, and the value to their brand so they can accomplish those goals. We've also worked with our clients in market optimization. Sally Beauty, for instance, they had a few hundred stores that weren't performing to where they should be. So they partnered with us to do strategic marketing in those trade areas that were underperforming and get to those stores to where they should be. Now, we realized over a decade ago that we could reverse that approach and take a data-driven drive on the public sector. To date, we've worked with over 750 communities and helping them recruit over 35 million square feet of retail. Now, we also work with clients on the tourism sector as well. So Asheville, North Carolina, they've been working with us very closely on tourism. We're also working with Florence County, South Carolina, for instance, on retail. Now, how we're able to help all of our clients is by understanding who are your best citizens and where are the best consumers, where are they found for a retailer. So we know that your consumers at a high level are more affluent, you have a lot of families within the area that are living children-focused lifestyles. Within your market for a retailer, that most sustainable consumer base is typically going to be around within 15 minutes. Now, when we get beyond those political boundaries, you have around over 82,000 in potential customers for a retailer just within 15 minutes of Waxhaw. But then we need to know the value of those consumers. So what are those customers, where are they more likely to shop in and dine, and what's not currently here that should be? So we've analyzed the thousands of retailers' trade areas that are out there and determined what are the companies that we need to be focused on in business attraction efforts so that we're not spinning our wheels on retailers that just aren't a fit, that wouldn't work here based on the market conditions and what we know from our expertise on the retail sector. So I won't spend a lot of time on methodology, how we do what we do, but what we've done at this point is we've analyzed all the factors important in site selection. We know who your best customers are, the trade area for retailers, so it's not political boundaries. They're looking how far in minutes are those shoppers for that potential business. And they're also looking at those other retail factors as well. So what's the competitive presence like here? What are the other businesses that they typically do well locating around? What's the accessibility? And we've analyzed all of these components and factors and identified the strongest retail matches. So out of the thousands that are out there, who are those that are locating in markets just like yours? And who are the ones that are operating or expanding within the region as well? Utilizing our industry experience of working with over 3,500 retailers and knowing what they're looking for, and so that you can look at your market from that lens of a retailer. Now, I'm not sharing with you the names of those brands that we've identified to give you that competitive advantage, but town staff does have access to all the information of those retailers that we've been actively engaging with for attraction and pursuit into your market. Now, those concepts range from fast casual to casual dining to grocers to clothing as well. Are some of the types of retailers that we've identified should be here and would do well and be sustainable within the town. Now, where are we overall in our roadmap? We started working with you all in December of 2015. You partnered with us to work on your long-term strategy for retail success. because you know that this isn't something that happens overnight. It's something that we have to focus on continually to have success. Now, the first month or so of our partnership, that's where we listen to what your goals are as a town. Then we took a look from a data-driven perspective to see who are the best retailers that we need to start with to lay that foundation. We identified those initial 20 retailers to focus our efforts. And then we began implementation in the initial year, engaging with those retailers, leveraging the validation that we put together that tells that story of why the retailer should be considered a location here in Waxhaw. But as we mentioned, it doesn't end there. It's not just a one-time study and we're going to see everything going vertical. We have to continue to work on that strategy and plan. So in the following year, we have identified the additional subset of retailers while maintaining the relationships that have been built within the initial year. And we're going to be looking at what some of those results are here shortly. But it's not just here's the results, here's the retailers that we need to focus on, good luck. We are truly here as that extension of your staff. We're here to evolve that strategy ongoing and help with other initiatives that you're focused on and provide that guidance and additional research as needed as well. So we've assisted and Curtis leveraged our analytics platform that he has direct access to for assistance not only with recruitment efforts, but also for downtown business expansion as well. And I know that you guys have presented a number of other questions as well that we'll be addressing today, so such as the new Waverly development. Now, what you're looking at here is where some of the major retailers within the Charlotte region. So a red dot represents a retail shopping center over 800,000 square feet of retail. Blue dot represents a retail center of over 400,000 square feet of retail. Now, what you can see here very quickly is that the majority of the retail hub within the Charlotte region is in the southern part of the metro. Now, this aligns with a lot of the residential growth and housing growth that we're seeing within the market as well. So what does the new development in Waverly mean for you guys? Well, it means a few things. One, it does help with creating that synergy, so more growth in the southern portion of the Charlotte market. So creating more of that retail synergy, more of that foot traffic within the area. But it is also, there's also a competitive part of that as well. So many of those retailers that are locating within that area, what you're probably going to see if your conversations with a lot of them is saying a second store in Waxhaw would be a little too close right now. Now, some of them may consider in the future as the population grows, as they see what that sales performance is in the Waverly development, monitoring that before they consider that next location within your market. But that does mean that a lot of those retailers are going to have to look at, okay, well, there's a couple that we're focused on, so now we're going to have to look at some other retail concepts because it's going to be a little bit longer before they would consider putting a second store within your market. Now, what have some of our results been to date? Now, we've identified 20 retailers each year that we've been engaging with and in conversations. I mentioned earlier we are keeping those names confidential to give you that competitive advantage. But here are some examples of the conversations and results that we've had. So looking at dining, we have had a retailer tell us that if they're going to be more on, you guys are more on the longer term plan. So what that means is we've gotten in front of them, so as they're planning those next stores, they're not going to overlook their market. But what we want to do is continue to push that needle forward. Now, while they've said that you're on their 3 to 5 year plan, well, what can we do to push that timeline up? So working to continue to engage with them and build that relationship to see how can we speed that process up in any way. Is it with more data results? Is it anything that the town can do to help them with that process? Now, we do have another dining retailer or restaurant that has said that they are interested in your market, they want to be here. Now, the deterrent for them right now is finding a spot where they can have a drive-through. There is other dining options that are interested, but they need a franchise. Now, this isn't relating to downtown, so this is more of looking at the town center, for instance, looking at national and more regional retail when I say franchise. Now, this is a good thing to think about. So maybe you have some friends that are business owners that want to expand their portfolio. Or maybe you have a resident that's looking to become a franchisee. This is a great opportunity because we have validated a number of franchise brands that should be here, that are sustainable. So if anyone might be interested, reach out to the town manager, reach out to Kurt Wright, and let them know that you'd be interested in opening a franchise concept here and get you engaged with that right company. Now, in the clothing category, I'm sure a lot of you have seen industry news that there's many companies in the clothing industry that are going bankrupt. We're not seeing as much expansion there with competition with Amazon. Now you are seeing stores go up, but they're being more strategic about it. So it's not a surprise that we're seeing in the clothing category, not quite there yet for several of those. They're saying higher daytime population, and we need to recruit more businesses here that are a similar type of more fashion tenants before they would consider coming into the market. Now, with that being said, we are getting a lot of interest from dining and from groceries. We're spending a lot of time focusing on those that are interested and that want to be here in their market. Now, with the grocery category, we've had 3 site visits from 3 different grocery brands. One of those, I know that a lot of citizens have asked for Trader Joe's. We saw last year as a reminder that you guys do have that profile of that type of customer, but we're just not quite there in population. Now, there is a grocery brand that considers themselves more of a mix between Trader Joe's and Kroger. So that's a concept that's very interested in your market. They have many calls with Kurt, and he's doing a great job leveraging us at Buxton and our resources to show that company why they should consider the market. And is utilize a number of our data and insights and those numerous conversations with Prairie, also with planning, and so we're looking to continue that conversation as well. There's another grocer that's actually looking at your market also. So what we want to do is continue to leverage these conversations and build these relationships further to push them to that next step, to being interested, to coming out, having more site visits, to then getting to make that decision. But what does a realistic timeline look like?
So can I ask you a question? So those last 3, clothing, grocery, general specialty. And I looked ahead in terms of the planning for the development cycle. What's, on Prime Day, what's the impact technology is going to have on bricks and mortar? Because if you're looking at a 6-year window to develop a site, 6 years from now, I'm sure Amazon will add more than the Whole Foods brand to their portfolio. So for a town like Waxhaw, how do we look at that, or do you look at the impact technology will have?
So we definitely are looking at those trends. So you're seeing a lot of growth with clicks to bricks and companies. I know Harris Teeter does this where you can order online and you can drive in and pick up your groceries. So we're seeing an increase in that trend. Also, not only with that, you're seeing a lot of downsizing and smaller footprints going in and not the big boxes like we used to see. So we are evaluating what those different trends are. And one thing that we are looking at is the changes in the consumer. So knowing what households are more likely to purchase online versus what households are more likely to go into the brick and mortar, and seeing what retailers like to locate around those type of consumers that you have that have that preference for online or for both. Which would be more of the omni-channel, which you're seeing that's another trend going in where they're having to it's not only brick and mortar anymore, you're seeing even online businesses, they're not just strictly online, Amazon's even opening up stores. So that trend of being able to reach that consumer from both avenues.
Thank you.
So I mentioned earlier that we work primarily with retailers and identifying what market should they be focused on, where are they going to be most successful. And for you guys, we've identified who are the retailers that we need to be focused on to recruit into the market that should be here. Now, we're not developers. I'll just leave it at that, but we do have some developer clients that work with us. And so this is an actual example from a developer client of ours of what their typical timeline is that they usually see. So it is important not only to have realistic expectations on the type of retail that we're focused on and wanting to track based on the market conditions today, But it's important to have a realistic expectation and understand what that timeline is for development. For our plant here, typically they're looking at 38 to 72 months in that planting cycle. Now, that's just that could either be a longer process or it could be a shorter process, but that's typically what they see. But sustainable and strong development takes years, so it's important to be patient and stay on the right track and with realistic expectations. Now, typically you're looking at starting with building that relationship, and now that's something that's ongoing that you have to continue to maintain. You have to start looking at the market, so understanding what areas are going to be most sustainable for the development. They continue that planning cycle, then go through the acquisition process of getting the land, having that unified front and the vision. So what's the development going to look like? Having that team assembled. It's important when you have that team assembled to have a unified front and vision. Work together. If there are going to be delays in process, communicate with one another. And then getting into the financing, and then the approvals, and finally to the development. So there's so much that goes into it. The key takeaway here is that it's a long process and planning that goes into development. Now let's take a look at an actual example for Waxhaw. Now we began engaging with Dunkin' Donuts in Q4 of 2015. Now Dunkin' Donuts, now this would be before Q4 2015, but they would start identifying from a retailer's perspective, from Dunkin's perspective, potential markets for development. So where do they want to go next? So they would identify, okay, we want to go into the Charlotte Metro next. They have to get a qualified franchisee for that market. Then work with that franchisee on site selection. So what locations are we going to go to within the Charlotte market? Now typically, franchisee, most of them, in many cases, they need a multi-unit franchisor. So they're going to have to open so many units for so many years in the marketplace. But they're going to have to then evaluate where are they going to put that next location in the region. So they're not only going to have to look at accessibility, visibility, parking, what are the co-tenants, but also what are the components from the consumers that are there? Is it the right customers? Now, PER was able to leverage our information through Buxton to take a look at that area franchise, their locations within Charlotte, and do a comparison to Waxhaw based on the traffic, based on the customers that are here, the demographics, and make a strong case to show them that it's very similar to the number of stores that they have actually within the Charlotte region. They should consider planting that next flag here within Waxhaw. Was able to get them interested. They have the site approved right behind McDonald's near Lowe's. They had that location approved to go into the market as far as from Dunkin' Donuts, and would then cover that location wasn't going to work for a drive-through, but identified then another location that's going to fit their brand. So they were so interested in your market and found how viable this location would be. That even though the first location didn't work, they found a site that was going to fit their needs, and now they have that location approved, and they have that lease actually signed. So this shows you that this is a long-term cycle that we started engaging with them Q4 2015, and now it's going to be over a 2-year process, and then actually getting them approved, and then now they're in that planning and permitting process, and they're going to start construction. The design process, and then with training, and then finally being open to the public. So let's take a look at what these results mean to the town. So leveraging our resources, able to get Dunkin' Donuts interested into the market. They locating into Waxhaw, that's going to mean approximately around 4,000 to 6,000 in property taxes per year to the town. Now, because of Dunkin' Donuts, that lease being secured, that then created the interest from Jersey Mike's and East Coast Wings, and now they've signed a lease as well. So overall, this is going to bring in approximately 12,000. It could bring 12,000 per year in property taxes back to the town. So with our help in bringing in Dunkin' Donuts, that has spurred other development within your community. Now, while Dunkin' Donuts is more of that quick service, Because of them coming in, now you have more fast casual and other dining options for the town and for the area that are coming in because of an interest in beef secured with Dunkin' Donuts. So we've talked about some of the results that we've had to date. Now, what are some other things that we can be focused on going? It's important to always be prepared. A lot of these are going to be check boxes that currently your team and staff is focused on. But one thing to think about as board members, so if you're in a restaurant in an area that's outside of Charlotte and you're thinking, okay, this restaurant seems very similar to the type of residents that I'm seeing within the area, has a similar feel to our town. Let the town manager, let Greg, let Kurt know as well that you've seen this location, you see that it might be a similar fit to your market, and we can then tell you if it would be a good fit for the area, and then begin those conversations with that company. And then it's important to also keep inventory, so know what sites that you have available. Have site plans so that you can share that vision with the retailer. Have aerial photos of the location. A lot of our clients are doing drone videos lately as well. Have that conceptual design as well, so that you can show what that vision is of the development. If there's any red tape that you can cut that tape, because that's going to help the retailer come in faster. So helping them get through the permitting and policy. So letting them know that you have staff dedicated to walk them through either with them throughout the permitting and policy process, because that is an incentive in itself that you're offering that customer service to that retailer. And continue to make allies and networking. So you guys have been attending the ICSC Carolina show the past 2 years. It's a great networking opportunity, and continue to do that and leverage those relationships through local brokers. So that you can hear what they're currently working on and how can you leverage us to help them in their current initiatives as well. So some key takeaways today to continue to leverage moving forward. We want to continue to think like a retailer. So looking at your market from that lens of a retailer's perspective, not selling your market from political boundaries, selling your market how the retailer is looking at you, from that trade area, from knowing you have the right customers. We want to set realistic expectations from the retailers that we're focusing on to the timeline it takes to have successful development. Continue to evolve our strategy ongoing. So we want to maintain the momentum that we've had so far. We want to continue to evolve our strategy so that we're continuing to have that success and working with you throughout your ongoing objectives that you have as well. And help anywhere that you can help the retailer through speed to market and help streamline that process. That means a lot from the retailer's perspective, because once they're interested in your market, speed to market is important. They want to get in and have that profitability within your area. And have that plan and continue to work your plan and have that unified vision and take action to it. But most importantly, be patient and continue to be proactive. That's most important in success with retail recruitment. The one thing I do want to mention to you all that we're just now starting to roll out is a new business retention tool. I left a few handouts with Melody if you guys want to take a look at that later. We are rolling out a new business retention tool for local insights. We'll be having ability to provide several business owners with access to that tool, where they will be able to market directly and see consumer insights and market directly to the best households for their business through Facebook, through Google search optimization, even direct mail and email. We'll have capabilities for that for several businesses. So something that we're just rolling out, and I wanted to share with you guys that you can look forward to having some of your business owners having access to that here in the upcoming months or so.
Okay.
Any questions?
Take a breath. Thank you. Questions for Cheyenne? No questions? Commissioner Schwartz.
You were talking about on your chart there's 3 fast foods. Is that the only businesses as far as restaurants that are interested in coming here? Is the drive-through fast food, or are there any sit-down nice restaurants that are interested?
There are sit-down restaurants in addition to the fast food, fast casual that are interested. So there was one that mentioned that they do need a drive-through, but there are others that are interested in the area. One in particular, they are a franchise-driven brand. They have locations within the region, and we're working to get that. Corporate says that they're interested, and they're working to get engaged with that local franchisee within the region, so they get on their radar and get them to continue to look at the market. But that one is a sit-down restaurant.
Thank you.
Other questions? Just point of clarity. This is separate and distinct from the work that Main Street is doing. You're looking at the retail from the town center, like at Puritan and the space at Lowe's and other things like that, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
But we do have, so if there are Main Street businesses that are interested in what information is available to help them grow, to help them understand the consumer base, everything I focused on primarily today isn't necessarily directed to Main Street, but we have resources and unlimited amount of insights that are available to help those Main Street businesses.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, next up. Public hearing. Oh, I'm sorry. Let's do the reports first. Commission reports. Commissioner Warner. Commissioner Stewart. Commissioner Fitzgerald. Commissioner Burrow.
I really would like to thank everybody on the town staff and all the volunteers who worked with them to make the 4th of July parade and all the other events such a success. I've heard about it, friends of mine in different areas of the country, so you've done a great job. Thanks an awful lot.
Mayor Pro Tem Hunt.
Also, thank you for the staff and the volunteers that made the 4th of July great parade, the events that evening, fireworks, the brief rainstorm that rolled through during the water park. Also, every Friday night, we still have jamming by the tracks down there on the open lot on the corner, so please join us for that. Thank you.
I just have one quick item. On behalf of the town, I did send a note today to the Union County Planning Board Chairman and Brian Matthews, the Executive Director of Planning for Union County, specifically pertaining to the property across the street, the 27 acres. They have a rezoning request in front of the Planning Board today. Because of the 4th of July, they had to move their schedule. And I wrote because nowhere in the packet did they make mention of the concerns that we had about the development that was going in. It's inconsistent with our future land use. It's inconsistent with our corridor plan. The zoning was more intense than what is consistent for that area. And on the transportation side, it did not appear that they do the extensive analysis that we have with our traffic impact analysis ordinance. So we put that on the table in front of them. I just checked my phone. There's no answer yet as to what they ruled, but it was being read to the planning board and will be passed on in the minutes to the county commissioners, depending upon how they rule. So, right.
I'd just like to take a moment to echo some of the comments about the 4th activities and the great job that the town staff did that. The activities all day long on the 4th. Many of you know, most of all of our staff call on in various ways throughout the year, but some of these activities really are all-day events that are taking certain individuals and departments, resources, stretching them for 12 hours, 14 hours in some cases, and longer. So getting ready to do the event's one thing, delivering the event is another. So I just want to say thank you to staff that participated.
Thank you. Okay, next up, public hearing for Kensington 2, also known as Kensington Park, initial zoning petition RZ 005-901-2017. The presenter will be Lisa McCarter. I'll entertain a motion to open the public hearing. Cheryl, thank you. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, all statutory and UDO notice requirements have been met for this public hearing. This is a request by the town of Waxhaw for an initial zoning on a 25.24 acre tract of land from Union County R40 to Waxhaw R2. The Board of Commissioners voted to annex the property on August 23, 2016, and the annexation date to become effective was just June 30th of 2017. The property is located on Waxhaw Marvin Road, north of the Kensington Road and Waxhaw Marvin Road intersection. Following subdivision surrounds it to the north, east, and south, and to the west is St. Matthew and Ingham Forest. The future land use map from the 2016 comprehensive plan shows the property as residential, the sub-designation under the G3 intended growth. It calls for a mixture of housing types, including detached single family. The current zoning of the property is Union County R40, and the proposed zoning is Waxhaw's R2 single family residential, and you can see St. Matthew across the street is also zoned R2. Staff recommends approval of the proposed initial zoning. The current Union County zoning on the property is consistent with R40. The adjacent property to the west is zoned R2, which is also consistent, and it's consistent with the comprehensive plan and future land use map. The planning board recommended approval at their June 19, 2017 regular meeting. They also voted to make a favorable recommendation on staff's statement of consistency. And tonight is just a public hearing, but just for your reference, at the next meeting will be the decision, and the motions will be to either approve or deny the petition and to have a statement of reasonableness and consistency. So if anybody has any questions.
Clarification question. Their plan has been vested from Union County, correct?
Correct. There's a 22 lot subdivision that's vested under Union County's approval.
Okay, thank you. Other questions for Lisa?
I looked at that plan, and those are huge lots compared to what we typically have in the town. 1 acre lots, there's less below.
Yeah, they're consistent with the R2 zone.
Okay, so if they were to get this rezoning, they can get another plat and break it up to smaller lots, is that correct?
That's not correct,
No.
because in the R2 zoning, the minimum lot size is 40,000 square feet, and that's about the average of what their lots are.
Right, yeah, 0.9 acres.
I think, in fact, somewhere in there it says the smallest lot is 20,000. Other questions? Okay, we have 3 people from Quellen that have signed up to speak. They got their notice in the mail and have joined us tonight. So first up, Ted Campbell.
Good evening. My name is Ted Campbell. I live at 8506 Gresham Drive, lot 218. I have a question. I guess if Kensington Park is being put behind my house, about the storm drains. Ever since they've come in and they've removed all the trees, the normal water that comes down between my house and there's 2 houses adjacent to me, normally that water is gone within about a day or 2 and my yard dries out. Ever since they put in Kensington Park, removed all the trees and they put all the hills, I have constant muddy water running through my entire backyard from one side to the other. I guess my question is, who's accountable? Are they going to put in storm drains, or is this something I have to look forward to from now on? Mosquito control. Now there's a lot of mosquitoes because there's so much water down there. I don't know if this is going to increase snakes. I don't know. I have multiple large trees, probably 80 foot. Now the roots are underwater. Is that going to kill all my trees? Who's going to replace the trees? Who's going to pay to have the trees removed, cut up, take away? Are they going to replace? I'm just wondering what's going to happen. And it's constantly moving muddy water. It's just constantly running, even days and ever since they've started. It's not just after a rain, but 1 or 2 days I have running water. I have constant running water in my entire backyard. It's muddy.
So,
I can address some of that. We do have a sedimentation and erosion control inspector, and so now that it's transferred over to Waxhaw.
Mason, can you speak into the microphone?
Yeah. So now that the property is transferred hands over to Waxhaw, our sedimentation and erosion control inspector will come out to the site, and he'll make sure to get everything corrected.
Okay, was that just all going to drain there?
He can address that with you as well. It's vested into the Union County approvals, so we can't require something that Union County didn't require, so we'll look into that for you.
So probably best that Mr. Campbell come over to make an appointment at town hall and review the plan with your department. Okay. Thank you. George?
Yes, sir.
Hi, my name's George Manos. I'm new to Waxhaw, been here like 7 months. Been in North Carolina 3 years. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak. My house also is in the back of the construction. I'm on Berkeley Court, 8107 Berkeley Court. And my concerns were what you mentioned a few minutes ago. You summed it up. Have studies been done for environmental impact, such as the water? Have they been presented to the county by the developer? Have they been presented to the town of Waxhaw for review and approval? Have traffic impact studies been done with the increased number of people that are going to be living there? Kensington Drive is 1 lane each way. In the short amount of time that I've been here, I've been stuck in traffic on that code. So it's bad enough without additional development going on. So basically, that's what I was looking at to see if these kind of things have been issued. The watershed, apparently that's a big concern with you, but that's going to affect the entire area. And, you know, I'm just looking to see if any of these kind of reports have been filed, if anything's been done, if anything's been reviewed by the town. That's it.
Thank you. Lisa, do you want to?
Yeah, I'll just briefly address that. Although this is an initial general zoning, we can't consider the site plan itself. We just consider whether the zoning is appropriate for that site based on our future land use map. But Union County did approve these things. They do have requirements for storm drainage. They have requirements for impervious areas. And it would have been approved under NCDOT, so they would have required transportation.
Which is a part of the plan that we take over.
Correct.
Thank you. John Lawrence?
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is John Lawrence. I live at 3208 Blackman Drive in Bowen. I'm here to address the same things and give you the opportunity to do this. I'll let you know, and hopefully you'll have better luck with Union County than I did hearing back about the zoning, because Mr. Hawkins, the storm and sewer person for Union County, has yet to call me back or even answer my email. So good luck for hearing back from them. I will say that. But I will say, let me compliment the city of Waxhaw. Your people have been very cooperative, open lines of communication, very diligent in getting back and responding. Todd Matthews, Matt Hubert, I'm in a couple. Matt came out and actually met with me, set the time that I could be there from work and met with me. Chris, your erosion expert, engineer, met and came and took pictures, and I wish I known we had visuals. I brought you several pictures of my backyard and the running water. To speak of the running water, and I understand about the silt pond, right? The temporary. So I will also say that Cal Atlantic has been responsive. Gil Squires from Cal Atlantic. So what I want to do, and my effort was to let the city of Waxhaw know about this problem before it became City of Waxhaw's problem, instead so that it could be Union County's problem. But unfortunately that didn't happen. So I think it's City of Waxhaw's issue now. My concern is environmental as well, the mosquitoes. I had to take my dog to the vet. The vet said it was a bacterial infection, and if the dog even walked through the water and licked his paws, that could have been the cause of the infection. It's a 12-year-old dog. So I've got standing water in my backyard. Now, part of my frustration, I want the city of Waxhaw to understand, in my conversations with Cal Atlantic, they were under the impression that there was a culvert in my backyard, not just a drop drain, but a culvert. So another thing that I'll be not as complimentary on, the engineer that Cal Atlantic is working on, that they're using to design theirs, is the same one that designed Welland. And I've been in that house for 14 years. I was the first person in the subdivision. And it's always been an issue with some type of water. So supposedly they're saying, and you're talking about Union County agreed with their plans and everything. I'm saying those plans were messed up from the get-go, because there's always been an issue. So that's what I'm saying. I'm asking to look at the old plans, because when I talked to Gil, he was completely confused when he got off the phone with me. He said, Mr. Lawrence, there's a culvert in the backyard. I said, no, there's not. The drain that has been installed in my neighbor's yard next to me was put in by Parker Orleans, who was the builder of our homes, one of the builders in that subdivision. And it was put in somewhere between 3 to 5 years after the subdivision was developed, excuse me, because my neighbor's crawl space flooded. And it burned out his heating system in the unit because the entire crawl space flooded. So there was a drain put in on his property and I guess about a 30-inch line run through his backyard to the culvert. So the culvert that they were expecting was between mine and his property line is actually one whole lot over. So this flow of the water that's supposed to come over into my yard and go into that culvert is, yes, it's coming over my yard, it's washing away my berm. I've stopped putting pine straw or anything up on the berm around the plants, because all it does is clog up that, what I call a drop drain with gray over. There's been times where I have to go out there and it's up to my knees, the water, because it's stuffed up. So I'll go out there and stop it, and then it will flow away. And to his point, it used to be, go away in a couple of days. Not a problem. I just need to cut grass. I can come back and bring pictures to people, but the last third of my backyard, I can't cut it because it's standing in water. And I also have video of this timestamp that I know we've had a lot of rain. I understand that. I'm not trying to be unrealistic. But if you still got water flowing after 7 days with no rain, to me that's kind of a problem. I understand about the silt ponds, but I will say that Cal Atlantic is going to try. I'm reserving my frustration and angst somewhat to wait to see what their solution is. Like I said, there's been open lines of communication, and what I would like for the city of Waxhaw is to make sure those lines of communication continue with the developer and everything. Because right now it's been very favorable. Like I said, I would compliment the city of Waxhaw, the engineers and everybody that I've spoken to in Waxhaw. They're very responsive to my concerns through emails, phone calls, or even coming out. One of the other things I want to address is that when I was talking to Matt, you know, we talk about, you hear about people having 100-year storms and floods. You can't really plan for that. And they were saying that some of these storm drains and things are built for, I don't know, let's say 15 or 20-year storms. My concern is with the concentration of what they're going to do, they're now going to take another 6 or 7 lots and focus that water to the back corner of my lot. Now, is every rainstorm going to be a 10 and 15-year storm for me? That's my question. So I just want the city to be aware of the issues. Please stay involved as you have been, because I think it's a big concern. It is a health concern. The mosquitoes are just terrible now. It's stagnant water. I know that some of it still is moving, but there's puddles behind my lot that have never been there before. And it's kind of hard to sit out on the back deck and enjoy the evening when you've got the smell of stagnant water. So, thank you very much.
Thank you for bringing it to our attention.
Yes, sir.
Any other comments, questions?
Yes. Have a comment. I would like to take a moment to thank the 3 gentlemen that spoke to us this evening. It was very civil, very orderly, very well thought, very laid out as to what you were bringing before us. I'd like to thank the staff for their response to these gentlemen. Again, this is what we would expect as taxpayers, as citizens of Waxhaw, whether we're sitting up here on this board or out there in the audience. And again, definitely kudos to the town staff. I hope you continue to work with each of these gentlemen and everybody in the neighborhood to address their concerns, and we can bring this subdivision, this neighborhood into Waxhaw in an orderly fashion that they're all a part of the town we all love. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you. Just a point of clarity, maybe to Lisa or to Town Manager Ferguson. So we have a zoning request. It's already annexed into the town. So we have to evaluate the zoning for the sake of the zoning. Separate and distinct are these environmental. Chaplain, do you want to clarify that?
Please. By state law, we annexed. We have to put zoning within 2 months of the effective date. This one did have a delayed effective date, or there's essentially no zoning on the property, which you don't want. So you need to put zoning, and these are important issues. They need to be addressed. The town needs to address them. You need to be aware of them.
Right.
But your focus with the zoning itself needs to be separate. This is sediment control.
Project plan.
This is sediment control, and it's important, and it should be addressed. But you need to look and see if the zoning requested is consistent with the plans and harmonious. It meets our qualifications and guidelines.
All right. Any other questions? Now I'll entertain a motion to close the public hearing. All those in favor? And with that, that's the end of the business section, so I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. All those in favor?
Aye.
Adjourn.
Probably just a couple days.